October 1st, 1992. A year that means absolutely nothing without the context. For the astute, aka people who read the damn title, this date is when Cartoon Network first aired on home televisions. 32 years later, and yeah, I don't know. I stopped watching sometime after they started releasing episodes of Gumball nonstop, as well as Teen Titans Go, and that's all I'm going to say on that matter. The network has been with us for a lot of years, and it was important because if you had internet access, no video game consoles, you had about one option left. Flash games. Obviously, the service died some time ago, but thankfully the Flashpoint project exists, and managed to archive a metric ton of games. Being a person with nothing better to do in life, I went on a bit of a journey, playing through over 100 different Cartoon Network Flash games at my channel, twitch.tv/thewarhog88. And as much as I'd love to talk about them all in great detail, I just can't. I'll get into that later, but this video is mainly just kind of giving a general overview about most of the things I played, and some other things here and there that came up during the streams. I didn't really do a whole lot of research, so take this with a grain of salt. And keep in mind that I say Flash games, but not everything was complete like Adobe Flash, like some of it was like Shockwave. That's irrelevant, don't worry about that. Just try not to get bothered by the change from my usual stream background to the white void that is Microsoft Notepad, because I needed something plain to crop things easier. As for the games, I'll put up all the names in this corner, and no matter what happens, each game will have a score. The scores are going to be my opinion, obviously, so bear with me and understand that if I disagree with you, it's probably for the best. The rules are simple. Only Flash games before 2012, it has to be from Cartoon Network, and it does expand to Toonami and Adult Swim. This is important. Like and subscribe to the Werehog, and these rules can and will be broken at random points. You ready? Alright, Tule, you're into it. Alright, starting us off, Inuyasha Demon Tournament. This Flash game is a card battler on a 3x4 grid, where you choose any of the 4 heroes, and you make your way all the way up to Haku. You got move cards, attack cards, and special cards that have unique effects. You get a reward after each battle, increasing the power of your deck. Although, to be fair, 4 cards ain't that much. It's still better than nothing. My strategy, although, was kind of lame though, because I was relying on Hyper Mode because that was the card that did the most damage in the game, and I was kind of banking on the fact that the AI was stupid and just wouldn't move after going left. It's pretty fun though, I will say. Every character has their own different attacks, they don't just all hit in the same radius, and honestly, they're own unique. The only thing I can mention is that it reminds me of another fucking Flash game called Combat Fighters. Otherwise, 8 out of 10. Honestly, it's pretty good. Teen Titans Battle Blitz. I'm already getting into the good shit. It's a 2D Street Fighter with the Teen Titans themselves against the Hive Academy, along with Cinderblock and Plasmus. I don't know where the fuck Overload is, nor do I know where Tracheon is. You get different characters, they each have their own abilities, and you can even call on your allies to help you out in a fight. There's probably more. I could try to explain each character, but I only used Starfire and just kept throwing Hadoukens because it's the easiest to do without any effort. Pretty good though, honestly, the fact that you get this many characters to play with, although it's a bit awkward to get into the command list. Otherwise, it's pretty alright. 7 out of 10. Ben 10 Battle Ready. A game that a lot of us remember. I thought it was hype as shit until I actually remember what the hell the game was. Anyways, essentially, you use the Omnitrix, and from all your 10 aliens, you play Banjo Goddamn Kazooie. For each of the aliens, finding all the gold Sumo Slammer cards, and then you fight the robot from the pilot episode. It gets tedious real fast because some creatures, Wild Mutt, just have shit level designs. I didn't even properly finish it because I just couldn't find this one last card. I am a grown adult and I cannot do this. 4 out of 10. Ben 10 Omnitrix Unleashed. I broke this game. 7 out of 10. Ben 10 to the rescue. Tetrax kidnaps Gwen and you have to use your alien powers to save her. Running into LA traffic. Playing a more dangerous version of the game Perfection. Running away from a volcanic explosion. Why the fuck is he trying to kill us if he needs the Omnitrix? And then a final showdown where Bro gets absolutely bodied. I made that sound way cooler than it actually is. 7 out of 10. Duck Dodgers. It's an episodic series of games where you start out as Porky before eventually playing as Daffy and going from A to B, then B to A with hazards here and there. Thankfully, you got your mighty fucking nunchuck shovel thing. And I totally did not lose at the asteroid missions. 0 out of 10. K&D Ice Creamed. You play as number 2 and you have to save the kids from Grandma Stuffum's ice cream factory. It's pretty good. They have their own timing thing. It does feel a bit brutal, but I don't know. I feel like going through such a gauntlet as a kid and coming out on top was always a treat. Good fun. 10 out of 10. K&D Downhill Derby. It's a kart racer, but you don't really turn, more so try to just dodge oncoming objects before you get absolutely clapped by the AI. This game does have a unique trait though, and I'll get into that later, but for now, 5 out of 10. Kid Next Door Escape Mission. You ever wanted to play that box pushing game on your graphing calculator? You know, Shokuban? But with the Kid Next Door? Well, here you go. It's just that. Okay, not exactly, since it's more of getting to the other side, and as well as using the Kid Next Door, and each one has their own unique ability. Well, I say unique, it's more of they can only go through specific doors, so the challenge does honestly ramp up. 8 out of 10. KND Operation Startup. Probably one of the more longer games. You play as each of the KND members, starting with number 5 and moving up the ranks, and you collect MacGuffins to battle iconic villains. Captain Stickybeard, Night Brace, Grandma Stuff'em, the Common Cold, and the best villain of all, Toilinator. It's a good one. Just note that some villains are easier to fight Toilinator than others. 10 out of 10. Going the exact opposite route, you have KND Operation Stat. I'll get into this later, but a lot of Flash games are really quick playthroughs that have novelty, but in terms of gameplay, there's like none. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it brings up a point that each Flash game really had their own identity, as some games wanted to be longer than others. Anyways, getting to the main actual game, all you're doing is creating a satellite, or a satellite antenna, in order to get Cartoon Network back onto the network, if that makes sense. You go through other Cartoon Network IPs, but it's a Kid Next Door game. I'm counting it as that one. 10 out of 10. KND Operation Trick or Treat. This is not really a KND game. It's a Halloween game that has Kid Next Door members in it. I still like it though, honestly. It's a puzzle game with unique mechanics, like becoming Dracula, Frankenstein, the Skeleton Man with the skeleton keys. That's good fun. 10 out of 10. KND Operation Tommy. It's a Moonlander. If you think I'm being too biased, KND Protect and Swerve. This is like a racer where you try to race your villain to the other side of the lawn, where you will eventually fight the delightful children from down the lane, and overall, it's not fun. You have to switch to other characters to get over certain hazards, but the trade-off when it comes to their speed, aka the most important thing in a race, is can be detrimental, considering how slow everyone else moves compared to number 1. And granted, you still need to fight the delightful children, and if you don't switch back to number 1, you will fucking suffer, and be warned, your ammo is limited. It's just not good. 4 out of 10. K&D honestly has a good batting average of Flash games, and there is one game left after these two, but I'll save that for later. The next two I'm showing right now are fine, it's just that I'm on page 3 of my script, and I haven't even gotten into a good chunk of the list. Finishing off the K&D games for now is a fucking banger. Flight of the Hamster. Fuck! Ed and Eddie, Spin Stadium. 10 out of 10. Robot Jones and Follow That Brain. It's a game that's from the show Robot Jones, I guess. I never watched it. You have to jump and duck and hide from obstacles in your way, like the school's plumbing system, and the school's racist principal, as well as some other things here and there. 7 out of 10. It's alright. Code of the Cryptids. Yeah, I just said that. Probably one of the more meatier Flash games when it comes to the amount of levels. I only played the first few, and I was bum rushing them, since most of the time you can just go to the right without, like, any hazards. Granted, the laters do get more complicated, but for now, you don't really have that many abilities aside from jumping. But you do kind of progress, because you eventually get the ability to push blocks, glide, and hover. 10 out of 10. Moving back to Cartoon Network, we have a few games from Camp Lazlo now. Beaned. This was during the Alien Invasion saga of Cartoon Network, where like 5 different shows had aliens and whatever. This game just has us playing dodgeball. Yay! 5 out of 10. Book and Cook. Okay, I might have lied about the consistency. You want to play Diner Dash, but chowder? 8 out of 10. Cabin Fever Field Day. It's a compilation of smaller games meant for going outdoors? Doesn't this go against the entirety of what CM was supposed to be? Anyways, you basically got 5 games. Racing, tire swinging, bug collecting, can flinging, water balloon launching, and my favorite, climbing. Pretty sure I got the order correct when I wrote this script. Honestly, they're short and sweet, and there's nothing really criminal about them, since you just choose what you want to play. 10 out of 10. Finally going back to Camp Lazlo, Paint Can Panic. It's an endless chaser where you keep running and dump paint as you go onto empty squares, and there's not much else. You can jump over shit, and eventually it does get more complicated with the twins running around. It's alright. 5 out of 10. Squirreled away. You need to take back your flag after it was stolen, just like in Halo CE Canyons. First, you start with going down a bumpy hill and you're wagging for it. Damn it! Then you swim through the treacherous fuck. Then finally, carry back Lazo to I'm not doing this joke a third time. Stepping into the Looney Tunes world, there's Cannonball Follies. 1, 2, and 3. It's a basic projectile game where you shoot a cannonball into a bucket with unique circumstances. The first game is a bit rough with the controls, but honestly it gets better with the 2 sequels. I give it a yeehaw out of 10. Captain Planet and the Robots of Zarm. I've never watched Captain Planet, nor do I know anything about it. I'm pretty sure it's about, like, saving the environment. I do know that Flash games exist, and you can fight robots in, honestly, kind of BS odds. I think, as far as I go, well, 7 out of 10. Cartoon Network Summer Resort. Another episodic series of games, however, they're disconnected, so you can play them in any order, really. You play as some original character, I think, and solve problems by talking to various CN celebrities, quote-unquote, and get the required items needed to solve each problem. The first game has you gathering tools to fix and repair the water pipe for the resort pool. I give this game a second game has you trying to stop Dexter's tennis robots from destroying the courts. In a boat. Honestly, I can give it a third game needs you to go to an erupting volcano and save Courage from another disaster. Honestly, this game deserves, the final game has you play matchmaker and try to swindle people into going to tonight's disco. I couldn't beat this one. Honestly, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Out of 10. Out of 10. Out of 10. Cheese Quest 3D. Mario Auto-Scroller. My Little Pony Gradius. Cocoa Puff Survival. I like cereal out of 10. Chowder Rump and Thump. You run, jump, smash, cut, and spin. It's alright, and the game does throw some special conditions for some of the ingredients. It gets really repetitive though. 5 out of 10. Runaway Robot. This shit is fucking peak. It's a point-and-click adventure where you have to find your missing robot. The robot has a cloaking device and can only be seen with the X-ray vision goggles, but you first gotta get into your lab, but you can't figure out what the handprint is, so you're gonna need a different pair of glasses. Even when you get it, you still need to find the battery pack, which is in Dee Dee's room. Aside from that, you can honestly click on everything in true point-and-click fashion. Everything is always randomized, so not everything's in the same place, but you can find a strategy, but who cares? It's perfect. 10 out of 10. Dexter's Moon Squad. A lot of them were just short. Like Moon Squad. Really? Fucking hell, this game's goddamn trash. Dexter's Laser Lab. A simplified version of, I guess, The Amazing Machine. I don't really have a proper example. Where you just move mirrors around and try to pop all the balloons with the limited ammo while also making sure not to get hit yourself from your laser beam cannon thingy. 7 out of 10. I like the art style. Moving on to another chain of one show, we have Clash of the Idiots. It's like a rock, paper, scissors game, but I don't get why some attacks are better than others, and it feels like the AI is just playing you for a fool and can easily one-tap you at any given moment. 5 out of 10. Cul-de-sac Smash. 1 and 2. I'm just gonna put them side by side. It's a go-kart crash derby where you move around and smash into other racers. The first game is pretty vanilla, while the second game allows you to use character abilities for various effects. In this example, just using Plank to just smack everyone in an AoE. The first game gets a 6 out of 10, its sequel is just much better, 10 out of 10, play that one instead. The Tainted Jawbreaker. Probably the most obscure editing Flash game where it feels like you're playing like a really old NES game. Honestly though, it's pretty good, although a bit short and simple. Granted, the final boss can be a bit difficult, but I pulled through. 8 out of 10. Candy Machine Deluxe. You win! We did it. 10 out of 10. So I'm going to take a quick from the usual script to kind of bring up an important point about the games I've played so far. Mainly the length of these games. Some Flash games take way longer than others, while others are meant for a quick session. There's not really a standard, as the main goal most likely would have been just to keep kids on the site as long as possible and get ads, as well as, gain more traffic. Nothing criminal, honestly, but it's just an interesting note, like how games can vary. See Runaway Robot compared to other things. The other thing I want to bring up is a piece of legacy software known as Cartoon Network Power Play. So, With Downhill Derby, it originally wasn't just a pure Flash game that you can play on Cartoon Network. You originally had to get it through Cartoon Network's Power Play system. There's not a lot of information on it aside from forum posts. I kind of one day hope someone can make a documentary about it. But from what I remember and seen, it was essentially that some Flash games were behind a paywall, but you could download a free trial, and I remember the games being really high quality for the time. It never really kicked off because the main target was kids, and let's be honest, Steam had already existed at the same time. When these types of Flash games were being released, it wasn't going to work out. It's an interesting piece of history, but at the same time, it is a pain to get set up, and it would just screw with my resolution, so anytime a Power Play version of a game comes up, it was just going to destroy my goddamn computer, so I had to, fix it. Nothing wrong with it, it's just how old software is, but that's just a quick thing I wanted to throw in. Back to the usual rant. Grim and Evil Battle Forts, a one-on-one tower shooter where you buy a bunch of weapons and take turns to either beat the shit out of the opponent, protect yourself with a hard read just like Pokemon. There's a bunch of different weapons to choose from, until you realize that the flamethrower is the most broken weapon in the game. Otherwise, it's good fun, although sometimes I feel like the AI can cheat, but it's not too criminal. Pretty good. 7 out of 10. All of the Wild 1 and 2. So a quick side rant, sorry. You're not going to see it in this video at all, but later on in the timeline, Cartoon Network does reuse code for some of its Flash games, and this is one of them. Granted, this was the original, and later on it gets reused for a different game, or a different IP rather. It's basically a platformer with a partner AI, and you have to help the principal with various tasks. In the first game, you have to stop Shark from hogging the lunchboxes, and in the second game, you kind of have to help kids ready for a field trip by getting rid of things. The reuse code eventually happens for the Amazing World of Gumball series, and it changes a few things graphically, however the game physics are exactly the same. Honestly, both games are fun, and it at least has some care in not making a go-right simulator as some other games go. It's all good fun. It's a 10 out of 10. So this is kind of awkward, but I have to use the bathroom, so here's the next few games and the scores I give them. Alright, now that I'm back, we can move on to a banger. Hi Puffy Amiyumi Treasure Island. A collectathon adventure game where you get told about an island with treasure, and it's up to you to use your abilities as well as tools scattered around the island, and collect every single shit. 7 out of 10. IGPX, Fight to the Finish. I know nothing about this show, nor did I do any research, but I can tell you that I'm pretty sure that there are mechs involved. I think it's like a racer mecha battler where you duke it out. And honestly, it's good fun. I just suck at it. 10 out of 10. IGPX Tie Game. This is a mech game, but with the gameplay of XCOM. This will probably be the last game for the day. It's shit. 0 out of 10. Justice League Curse of the Underworld. It's a Wonder Woman beat-em-up where you go through 3 quick levels and fight Hades. It's good fun, although you don't really have a lot of attack options aside from your whip. But, you take what you can get. 7 out of 10. Magnet Face. Another Flash game during the Alien Invasion saga, this time in the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. The main mechanic is that your body has a super magnet inside, and the longer you hold the button, the bigger your charge. Being a magnet, you can also fucking injure yourself from metal boxes and spike mines. It's a short game with 3 levels, but honestly, the game does well and has unique mechanics like grinding on rails with the magnet, and being able to use your magnet range to extend beyond platforms, beyond your normal range. I give it a cheese out of 10. Meet the Mayor. You're the mayor of Townsville in the time before the Powerpuff Girls, avoiding attacks that will turn you into a meat. This game is a mistake out of 10. Mega's XLR versus the universe. I once again know nothing about this show, but I do know that it's a mech game where you shoot rockets, fuck you beams, and nukes. And if you get hit, you lose everything. I give this game a DMV out of 10. Mobile Suit Gundam Wing Assault. I'm not repeating this joke for the 3rd time, but it's a mech game where you fight via rock, paper's battle system. It's honestly pretty fun, since it's kind of like chess, and I don't mean to brag or anything, but I'm pretty good at— I think I'm about to lose the Earth. Shit. Chaos Tag. It's a Flash game about playing tag. 7 out of 10. Front Page Nuisance. 7 out of 10. Goal Line Soccer. It's fucking football. Out of 10. Lighten Up. 7 out of 10. Sorry if it seems like I'm just kind of giving up and just leaving a score, but like I have nothing to say about these games. At best, I could say Lighten Up was also part of the Alien Invasion saga, but like, who the fuck cares? Pokemon Towering Legends. This shit is a fucking banger of a game. I mean, can you blame me? Listen to this soundtrack. The game is just collecting hexes and making large towers for more points. There's nothing else to it, but it's one of the few Flash games that didn't blow out my eardrums on startup. Good music out of 10, honestly. Breakdown Blast. This is another decent puzzle game, but you only get Turtwig and nothing else, and it's more just matching colors. There's not much to it. It's alright. 7 out of 10. Pokemon Sky Stacker. A tower building game where you put blocks down, try to get them into the highlight area as much as you can, and if you fill most of it, you can catch a Pokemon. It's alright, nothing too complex, but there's not much else to it. 7 out of 10. Powerpuff Pillow Fight. It's a rigged fight. 0 out of 10. Robot Boy Tommy Takeaway. Tommy's been kidnapped and you gotta get to the Big Bad Evil's Island. I'm not saying his actual name. Fuck out of here. You first dodge rockets until you get inevitably hit because this game is bullshit, and then power up to beat up the missile launchers. Until you lose. There is no winner to this game. 7 out of 10. Transformers Rollout. I know nothing about the Transformers lore, but I do know that driving a semi-truck at high speeds with massive jumps is cool though. Truck out of 10. Code of the Samurai. A fun action platformer, if not a little hard. You go from level to level, all being from the show, slashing at iconic enemies, and making your way all the way up to Aku. Once you get powered up, you can take the fight to Aku, where... Fuck it, I'll just keep swinging. 7 out of 10. Path of Destiny. This game just sucks. There's nothing else to say. Static Shock Microbot Menace. Play as Static Shock, riding around and taking down machines, and trying to find special chips in order to take down the rest of the bots and move on to the next level. 7 out of 10. So earlier, I went into a whole rant about Cartoon Network's Power Play games, and well, here's 2 more that actually got converted to proper Flash games that you can play for free. First is Tag Team Titans. The Brotherhood of Evil is up to no good, it's up to Titans to take them down. In this platformer, you take control of all 5 Titans using their special abilities. Double jumping, hovering, box pushing, sonic cannoning, and transforming into various animals. The main difficulty comes from the platforming, as fights can be heavily cheesed, as seen here. However, if you play the game honestly, and not like me, who's just cheesing everything, it's fine overall. The issue I have is just how Cyborg feels useless. Like, the man or thing can hit harder, but it doesn't help you get past obstacles compared to the others. Pretty good. 7 out of 10. Calling All Titans. This game is really not a Teen Titans game. The premise is honestly like a basic watered down version of Season 1, in my opinion. It starts by you choosing your preferred Titan before exploring 5 different areas and gaining the other members that have been kidnapped or trapped or whatever the fuck, and then moving on to the next area. The Titan itself has no unique trait, and you pick them up in, I'm pretty sure, a set order. The importance of more Titans is that you can only break certain blocks with a certain number of Titans. The more you have, the higher level blocks that you can break. There's no really uniqueness to each Titan. It's basically forcing you to go in certain locations in a set order linearly. So the overworld is kind of a bit of a lie. The combat, in quotes, is just WarioWare. I'm not joking. Basic enemies will give you a QTE. However, Slade's robot minions will give you a WarioWare style minigame, and you have to beat it to beat the enemy. And I think as a reward, if you get a unique game, you can add it to your pool and play it later on your own time. I honestly like the minigames, and the art style is really cool, but it's not a Teen Titans game, man. It's really not. The unique minigames come from the bosses, which go back to the action platformer style of Calling All Titans, but you have less health, and it's a bit more unforgiving while also still being fun. Kind of like, again, WarioWare, as I mentioned. 10 out of 10. I'm biased, this is not a Teen Titans game in any way, shape, or form. The Envelopes, please. It's a puzzle game just like Cartoon Network Summer Resort, where you talk to various CN celebrities and you help them out in order to get the envelopes for the award show, and you play as Baboon. It's alright, there's nothing special to it. 7 out of 10. Grimball. You play dodgeball, and Grim is the only person you play dodgeball against. Have fun. 10 out of 10. Zap To It. You want to play DDR but with keyboard controls? 10 out of 10. All monsters attack. It's a kaiju monster battler with, again, rock, paper, scissors mechanics. It's mediocre. 4 out of 10. Young Justice Shadow Mission. Okay, no one is gonna get this except for me and maybe like a few other people. This game is just a exact copy of Armed with Wings Culmination. There's like no difference except for maybe like the extra mode this game has. But Armed with Culmination came out way earlier than this game. There is a history to prove it. I don't even think they properly cited their sources. No citations out of 10. Okay, I'm getting exhausted and this video needs to end, so. Kids WD Turkey Day, Food Fling, you're just flinging turkeys, except it's not Turkey Day every day. Batman, the Cat and the Bat, it's a broken platform about, cats, 0 out of 10. Totally Spies Booby-Trap Fortress, it's got the funny word in it, 808 out of 10. Totally Spies Robot Island, I fell out of 10. Totally Spies Mall Brawl, you're just beating up robots and going shopping to buy overpriced deals. Batman and Crime Wave, Joker kidnapped the Robin and is going to Cobblepot Caper. It's just about a caped crusader beating up a failed businessman who changed his fucking last name to Cobb. 10 out of 10. And finally, Runaround Fred. Gotta do all the tasks. The end of 10. Ooh boy, that was a lot to go through. There were highs and lows, but overall, I enjoyed the nostalgia trip. I do admit that I didn't beat every game, or even played like a decent chunk through it, but that's just kind of how I prefer my nostalgia, in small doses. I'm not trying to complete anything, I already got a big enough backlog as is most people. If you fully go back and play the games, in my opinion, you do just kind of get bored and realize how simple some of the games were. Instead, you might just want to have a different outlook and just kind of think about what it took to make those games. Some of those people might have even gotten their start from Flash and then moved on to bigger and better things. Hell, look at Newgrounds, where a lot of people started. Sure, they're not like, I don't know how some game companies put it, quintuple fucking A quality, but for some of these games, the quality is pretty good for like the limited amount of people and resources that was given. My grading should really be given or taken with a massive grain of salt since there's no overall ranking. Like, I didn't want to put this in a tier list, and if anything, I just simply wanted to explore the past. If you like what you saw, subscribe. It's free, and it's the only way I can validate this long of a video. Otherwise, thanks. Have a good one.